So welcome to today's Greater Life CoffeeCast, and with today being the pillar of hustle, I am asking you a question that builds upon our exploration yesterday of the masks and personas that we must let go. And so I ask you, where are your lies limiting the business you could build? Where are your lies limiting the business you could build? And what I mean by that is, where are you not actually facing up to the reality of what is right now? Not what could be, not what might be, what is right now. And how this has played out for me is to recognize that there are some elements within business that I really don't know much about. Now, should that preclude me from trying to build a business and trying to spearhead a movement to support business owners over 50? Of course not. But what it must guarantee is that I do what I can to either mitigate for those shortcomings or learn the necessary skills so they are no longer shortcomings. And at the same time, as I acknowledge the reality of what is there, I'm also able to connect with the reality of, on the other side, of actually, what am I really good at? And the answer is, I'm really good at helping people communicate the ideas around their business, at helping people connect with and articulate the value of their business in ways they may not have even thought possible, at getting to the emotional heart of a business and a value proposition, and also of helping to structure frameworks and identify assets and products that maybe had gone under the radar. So all of those are things I know I'm really good at, having now spent the best part of a year trying to build a business. Systems, processes, operations, financials, these are core pieces that I really need to get better at, or get someone who can come alongside me and be great at them. So, where are you at? And the majority of people who have come across Greater Life so far would fall into what we might call the solopreneur bracket. That is, they're the only person, right? And so if that is you, perhaps you've got an accountant, but the chances are you're having to do a lot of the stuff yourself. How's that going? And are there any ways in which you're not fully being honest with yourself about either what you're great at or what you're not so great at? And as a result, by not owning up to that, are you creating, or are you putting a ceiling on what might be possible? Do you keep butting up against, for example, if you're trying to do your accounts yourself, rather than actually just spend the money on an accountant? Are you every single year having a couple of months where it's just a mad dash scramble to try and get your accounts done, and actually that time would be better spent bringing in leads and generating new customers or keeping existing customers wowed? Right, that actually there is a fallacy here, that you're saving money by doing your accounts yourself versus investing, and I use that word very deliberately, investing in an accountant so that your best skill sets, your best talents, what you are great at in your business can be deployed for your customers and for income generation. And equally, maybe you're amazing at the financials, but you've been slogging away trying to keep your social media stuff ticking over. And it feels like you're, screaming into a void in a soundproof room while tumbleweed goes past in terms of how you're getting engagement and how you're building an audience. Well, similarly, what steps have you taken to invest in the right support there? Even in just taking the time to, rather than create lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of posts, perhaps to record one really great podcast and then spend the time chopping up the relevant clips so that from a single piece of content you can generate a week, 2 weeks worth of content. Particularly if it's not your own podcast, particularly if you're featured on someone else, then you get that brand credibility, you get that authority by being featured on someone else's podcast. You see, the investment of the right time in the right way, or the investment of the right money so that you buy back the time that money gives you, is a key part of this process of actually addressing the lies you might be telling yourself. That the antidote to those lies is the recognition of the truth of where things are at and what would actually make a difference. And the issue, of course, as you may have worked out by now in terms of what we've explored, is not necessarily that you are telling one lie. Like, oh yeah, it's, I'm good enough at marketing, when you're not. Or, I do my accounts, it's the best thing, right? It's that you then tell a second lie, perhaps. So rather than just going, oh yeah, I'm good at accounts when you're not, then making the error of going, oh well, I can't afford to invest the money in getting an accountant. When the reality actually is you can't afford not to. So the challenge here is, can we spot the first lie, which maybe is something to do with your identity, where you're like, yeah, I'm good at business, whereas acknowledging that perhaps there's areas where you're not so good would be a really great start. And then not making things worse by telling yourself a secondary like you can't afford the money or the time to fix the problem. Know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Acknowledge the truth, and the truth will bring you customers and profits and less stress. So, where in your business are you currently telling limiting lies or believing stories about yourself that simply aren't true, but are less painful than acknowledging the reality and doing what must be done to move forward? And I hope that today, hearing these words, you don't believe they come from shame or any kind of judgment, because I am in the same boat as you. I have to hold my head up, acknowledge there are areas I'm not great at, and do what I can do to move things forward and put things right. Because the business I'm building, serving you and people like you, is too important for my ego to get in the way. So let me acknowledge where I'm not great. Let us acknowledge where we're not great and do what we can do to put things right. All right.